Yes, I can see. If you can see yourself in there, then I can. Hello. Hi, guys. Welcome to our Friday Night Live. This is T&E Chronicles. I'm Tanya, and this is Mr. Ernestine, otherwise known as
Nana.
Nana. Okay. We're going to do a quick live this evening so my mother can give you her impressions of my very first book that I wrote. Hello, my name is Road to Forgiveness. The first, maybe she'll explain to you why she's wearing glasses like she's Ray Charles.
I'm wearing glasses because I don't like the light. It's a little too bright and it hurt my eyes.
Alrighty. Okay. So, Mom, thank you for joining me this evening for this live. I appreciate you coming on. I know how much you don't like being on camera, so I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. This is, let me get pan in so you guys can get a good picture of it. Hello, my name is Road to Forgiveness by Tanya Smith. It's available on Amazon.com and Kindle version, paperback, and I also have a new shipment of copies, so you can just get one off of me. You can contact me to get a copy. You can leave something in the comments, or you can hit me up on Facebook, and we can make arrangements for me to get you that copy. Alrighty, Mom. So this video is about your first impressions of the book. Hello, my name is Road to Forgiveness. So okay, this is how we're going to do this. We're gonna do a little short interview. I'm gonna ask her some questions on her impressions of the book. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, my first impression of the book, I know she wants to know that,
Okay.
is that I was amazed. I was a little shocked, but it was really good. And at first, my first thought was, wow, she really is a writer.
Okay, why were you shocked?
Because you're so quiet and you'd been so shy. You kept talking about this book for a couple of years and you hadn't followed through with it.
Yeah.
And so I just kept saying she's just talking. I didn't think it was going to be a reality.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your honesty and your transparency. For those that don't know, the book is about forgiveness, and how we label ourselves. And do we label ourselves by the circumstances of our life, or do we see ourselves the way that God does? I choose to see myself the way that God sees me. So that was the first question, right, Mom?
Yes.
Okay, the second question is, let me just give some of the titles to some of the chapters in the book. There's a chapter called What's in a Name? Hello, my name is Arguing with the Elderly, Life Happened, The Basement, Growing Pains, In the Closet, Masquerade of a Life, Have a Little Talk with Jesus, God's Gonna Trouble the Water, Insanity, Standing at the Well, Landmines, When Planted You Grow, As They Went, Emancipation Proclamation, and the last one is called Allow Me to Introduce Myself. Okay, Mom, I'm going to answer this on the back end of you, but what was the most difficult chapter for you to read and why?
The most difficult chapter was chapter 5, In the Basement. And I think it was so difficult because when you're reading stuff and it takes you back to a time and place, and I realized that I was not there, that I was just so totally out of it and into my own drinking and stuff, being selfish, that I wasn't there for you. And it brought it all back, up right up to the surface. And I had to deal with that all over again within myself and talk with God about it and realize that God had moved me on, God had forgiven me, and also that you had forgiven me.
Yes.
So I didn't have to stay in that funk.
Right. I think it just goes to show that we can encounter difficult times, but through the grace of God, we can work through them. I know for years myself, I was afraid to even encounter or think back on things because I felt like it would um, tear me apart completely to even think about negative things. And I know I feel like a lot of times in life, one of the most um, detrimental things that we can do is not want to deal with difficult subjects, and we don't want to talk about it. And I know I have a section in the book where I talk about this cultural mindset of basically what goes on in this house stays in this house, and how detrimental that can be to everyone involved, especially if it's something going on that's unhealthy, or children, or anybody not being treated right or being abused in any way, and the lengths that some people will go to. Um, but I think we have to realize that if God allowed you to go through it, He'll take you through it on the other.
People bring you through it.
Right. Yeah. And I think people need to, I think part of me writing this was for people to see that you can face, if you just, with the help of God, you can get through anything. It's not going to be, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and act like it's this easy thing. And it's not. But
No.
even when you don't believe in yourself to get through it, you can still believe in God. So, and okay, so on something a little lighter, what was the most enjoyable chapter for you?
I don't know if it was enjoyable. It's so doggone funny though.
Well, then something enjoyable.
The part where you were at the Christiana Mall and the old lady comes up to you.
Arguing, that was chapter arguing with the elderly.
Yes. And it was funny to me because the lady was right on point and you were like ready, to just take her out of her, you're talking about the Golden Girls. And you were calling her that she'd gotten misplaced from them. And I laughed because I have two friends that attend the adult daycare with me. And that's what we call ourselves, the Golden Girls. And it really was funny that the conversation you was having with this lady, but what you was going on in your head too. And then it didn't stay funny because I realized what you were going through at that time by reading a book.
And I think I want people to understand that everything in this book actually happened. So that actually was I think I made one of the first videos I made about the book was I talked about that.
Yeah, okay.
Arguing with the elderly about the impetus for this actual book. Started from a conversation or interaction I had with an elderly woman in Christiana Mall back in January of 2017, I believe it was. Okay, was there any other parts of it that you thoroughly enjoyed?
I enjoyed the interaction you had with the hammer. And
who would the hammer be?
Mrs. D. Copeland.
Right.
And that was good because Dee was really calming us for her. But it's amazing that she saw Dee as this little bougie church lady. And although I still see her as bougie, and she's classy, but she's real. She's real. You don't see a lot of people that's as classy as she is and as real as she is. But what you see is what you get, and she's not gonna lie to you.
No,
she's gonna be as gentle as she can, giving you the truth, but she's gonna give you the truth.
She is the hammer.
Yeah.
Okay. I want my own reflections of what was the hardest chapter for me to write was actually probably the one on, I think it's entitled Landmines. Like I wrote in I don't know if it was the introduction. I've navigated through the world for most of my life in the shadows. I like being in the background. And to actually write a book about my life was not easy. Exposing things about my life that I wouldn't normally tell people was not easy for me. I'm a very, very private person. So I think that was most, and having, not not having to, but making the decision to come clean was not easy for me. So that was probably the most difficult part of the book for me to actually write. Um, I really enjoyed once I wrote it. I really enjoyed the interaction I had with Dee. I think it was in a chapter called Insanity, and it's been a few years ago now. I was thinking about having gastric bypass, and there's an interaction with me in the book with who was my counselor at the time, Dee Copeland, and how I was so mad at her for not telling me what to do. Um, and so that was really amusing. What was one of the other questions I asked you, babe?
Um,
You can look at your paper.
let me see what you asked
It's
me.
okay.
Yeah, that's good.
You probably can't see through those dark
I
glasses.
probably can't, but I'm keeping them on.
No, I'm not gonna take your glasses off anything.
Yeah, but we have days now. Even it's still things of with Dee. Her and Dee are no longer counselor and client; they're friends now. And some days she'll say stuff to me, and I'll say to her, "Can you call Dee?" You know, it's like I'm still shifting. You know,
Well, we all
over.
work
Yeah,
through things. You have to know that's one thing that I'm grateful for, that I've realized that that season of my life has changed.
yeah,
So people have a different role, and um, it just shows the dynamics in a relationship can change. I think people, if they were to get halfway through this book, they could never envision you and I having a healthy
true.
relationship. We had a really dysfunctional relationship for
Yes, we did.
most of my life. Like I've said in the book, I was very difficult to get along with. Mom had some stuff of her own she was dealing with, and we just butted heads constantly.
And at that time too, I was an alcoholic. You know, active alcoholic.
Well, even as an adult, we did not have a
yeah
peaceful relationship. It's just been in the last 5 years or so.
True, that's all.
And I think, believe it or not, people probably have thought we've always gotten along, but we have not. We had some knockdown, drag out fights behind closed doors. But I think my mother was able to benefit from my counseling too.
I was.
Yeah. And so I am a strong proponent for therapy or counseling or anything like that. I think it's a disservice for Christians to think that there's somehow something wrong with therapy or counseling, or you shouldn't need that. I don't agree with that mindset at all. But um, so I'm glad. How do you personally feel the book can help people?
The book can help parents see where they've gone wrong, and it's okay. I have a problem with parents today that won't apologize to their kids. They'll say that I'm your mother, but that don't make us right. We, we can be so wrong coming out of left field. And the way the book helped me is that realize that some of the things I did, and I see parents today do that. I'll try to talk to some of my friends and tell them, well, your kids are grown and you need to handle them different. And sometimes, they need to apologize, and parents don't want to say they're wrong, but we can be as wrong as two left shoes, and it's okay to say, "Hey, I'm wrong." And you'd be surprised how the kids will appreciate that. And also helped us, how you didn't mention that, is that at the church we're at now, we've been at this church about 3 years now.
Emmanuel Wesleyan.
And if it wasn't for that pastor
shout
Mark
out
Bunning,
to my church family. Well, the whole entire church.
The whole church really, it's just they just embrace you. I told Tanya I went there before Tanya did.
Yeah.
And the first Sunday I walked in the door, this lady shook my hand and gave me a piece of peppermint. And I told Tanya, I said, wait a minute, is my brush stinking? And
Well, you told me that when I got home. When
when
you
I
got home, because I
home,
wasn't with you.
and what it is, that's just how welcome they is. They, it's just amazing. I've been in a lot of churches because, well, whether people realize it or not, Tanya's 49 now, and in her lifetime, I bet we've moved at least 25 or 30 times.
About
So,
30.
so and I've been in a lot of churches because I've never lived any place that I didn't go to a church. But this is the best church today that I've ever been in because it's truth. I understand what I'm being taught, and it really works well.
I just want to say something too. I think that we're gonna try to upload videos on Friday evenings. That is a really good subject for us to do sometime. I think about church hopping. I never actually did that, but I just want to really quick. This is so off topic, but anyway, sometimes it's the church, but we have to be honest. Sometimes it's just the person, and we're not ready to hear the word at that time. And I remember about a year ago, I heard this thing and it said, your eyes will see whatever they're looking for. So if you go in looking to see what's wrong in a church, that's what you'll see. If you go in looking to find the word and to be uplifted and to be encouraged on your Christian walk, that's what you'll find. So that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're not going to keep you guys. We've already been talking a really long time now, but we appreciate you guys joining us this evening, and look for us next Friday evening or Saturday morning to upload a video. But thank you for joining us this evening. You guys have a
peace out.
Nice evening. Peace out. Peace out.
I said peace out. How many times will we say 19?
I can't stand you, old lady.
Okay. Hold
a second. Don't talk about the whole thing.